Hello, student athletes. We are so excited to have you with us. And I think there's even some CCLs. Remember, that is Campus Character Liaisons. My name's Robert Grime with the NAIA National Office, and I am so excited for tonight's speaker series. But before we get to introductions, remember, the speaker series is something that we're trying this year, where the first Sunday of the month, we introduce a topic for campus administrators, ADs, coaches, athletic trainers, something that is timely and important. The second Sunday of the month, we do the same thing, but this time we face it directly towards student athletes and campus character liaisons. So far, the focus has been a lot on mental health. We did one on physical health. And now we've got a speaker that I saw a couple years ago and was incredibly impactful for me in my work supporting student athletes. The intimacy, the very intense deep dive that Jonathan Jones brings to student athletes and helps them reflect and think through is so impactful. And I don't want to give away any spoilers. I really think that you are going to enjoy this, student athletes. Jonathan, after 20 some years in NCAA sports, changed my whole paradigm in the way that I viewed my job. And that was so impactful to me that it's made me approach things in a whole new way. And I really thank him for that. Jonathan Jones, you'll see his information right there. What you're going to hear is something that's going to help you reflect. It's going to help you think. It's going to help you establish yourself. You're already halfway there because of the sacrifices you've made being a student athlete. But this is a conversation that you owe it to yourself to reflect on. And it's great because some of you are with us live tonight, which is great. We're going to have you interact and put your thoughts in and talk and type. But also we're recording this so that down the road, other student athletes can see it, or you can review it if you want to. It's going to be available on naia.org, and we're going to capture it and send it back out. I'll probably get everyone here an email, as well as all the CCLs in the nation. So we're going to blast that out probably on Wednesday or Thursday when it's all recorded and tied together nice and neatly. But again, someone who has been very impactful to me. I really appreciate him, and I'm really excited about this. I want you all to say hello to Jonathan Jones.
Robert, thank you so much for the introduction. Definitely glad to be here tonight. Excited to share with you all just a little bit of my story, just a little bit of my journey. But most importantly, I'm excited for the opportunity just to engage with each and every one of you all tonight. So before we dive in, I just want to just do a pulse check. Just give me a 2-word check-in down in the chat box. Just a 2-word check-in on how you feeling down in the chat box, if you all don't mind, just so we can get a little energy going. I want to hear a little bit from you. Okay, Robert, motivated. I love it. I love it. Two-word check-in. Just give me a 2-word check-in down in the chat box. Oh, and I know earlier, Madison, I believe, said she shared, and there's like 15 students in the room. So I guess they won't be able to share. Excellent, grateful, happy, blessed, excited, love it. Madison, thank you for answering for all the students in the room. I love it. They probably shouted out answers and different things like that. So it's beautiful to see, just to know that you all are here and we get to spend this time together on this Sunday evening. But before we go any further, excited. I love it, Hunter. Before we go any further, I want to just do this, right? I want to do this because I know we're in 2021 and I know that there are a lot of distractions all around us, right? There's our smartphones, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's all these things. I just want to challenge you just in this short time that we just lock in just for a moment so that ultimately after we leave, we'll leave better than we came. Okay. So if you all are good with that, just give me a let's go in the chat box, and then we're gonna get this thing moving. Just give me a let's go, and then we're gonna rock and roll in this Zoom room tonight, in this Zoom boom room. Okay, let's go. I love it. Okay, so tonight we're talking about how to cultivate a true championship mentality. not just for competing while we're playing sports, not just for the amount of time while we're in college, but ultimately we're doing this just so that we can cultivate a championship mindset for the entirety of our lives. All right. And I wanted to break that down and wanted to just share this tonight because there's one story that comes to mind for me. And it was a point in time, Maurice, to where I was a quitter. Right. It was a point in time where I was a quitter. Yes, I'm the guy who's speaking. And yes, I was a quitter. Okay. I was a quitter. There's no shortcuts about it. There's no way I can even, just not tell the story without giving you all that truth. And the reason why I want to just share and I want to start off with that is because of the fact that I was in a point and in a place to where we're about halfway through the season. I was talking with my good friend, my roommate, and we're still connected to the day. And his name is Shabuzo Ilanu. And I said, Buzo, I said, I'm ready to quit, man. I said, I suck. Right. I'm not performing well. The practices aren't going well. Coaches not giving me playtime. This just isn't working out the way that it's supposed to work out. And he said, John, relax. All right, relax. Just come on. So then we moved on. And at that point in time, then I was good, right? He gave me something to pacify me in that time. But the thing that I later didn't realize was if he wasn't there just to get me through that moment, the next instance that came up when I was at my university, when I was ready to quit on my team. Right? I was on the team, but I wasn't a part of the team. And I'm sharing that today just to set the framework. Because if we're honest, I believe each and every one of us has been to a point in our life to where we were ready to say, you know what? I quit. But that's not what a championship mentality for life looks like. Right? So as we dive in today, I challenge you not to try to take away the whole presentation, not to say, oh my goodness, this is an elephant. John said all these different things. I want to apply all this stuff. Find the one piece that resonates with you. And I challenge you to take that one piece and then see how it applies in your life. Okay. So understanding that there was a piece for me to where the core value for me was ultimately remaining optimistic. That's what Buzo helped me understand. He said, John, you have to focus on what you have. You have to focus on moving forward. You have to focus on the progress. When he helped me hone in and focus on remaining to be optimistic, that was the part where everything changed for me. So the question I just have for everybody today is, what's one core value that you have? Right. And as we go through this presentation, I want to stop so I can look at you really close. I want to look at you really close. As we go through our time today in this presentation, I want you to know that for one, yes, the chat box will be open. Okay. The chat box will be open, but I'm also going to drop in a link for you all so that you can click the link and we can engage in that way. And I can see some of your responses come through. And there's going to be some times where I might ask some of you all to come off mute here and there, because I want to hear from you all in that way. But I want to know from you all, because I know we have some admins in the room. I know we have some student athletes in the room. I want to hear from you all. What is one core value, right? What is one core value that you have? And I'm going to drop a link in the chat, and I want to hear just from you all. What's one core value that you have? Just click that link and just comment and drop it down in the chat, because I want to just see what the pulse is, right? Because core values are something that ultimately determine how we discipline. I love it. Family. Yeah. Because core values determine how we operate our lives, how we move forward in our own lives. So we have family, we have positivity, we have honesty, we have integrity. Oh, integrity. Hey. NAIA, core belief. I love it. Commitment. Oh man. Confidence. These are good. These are golden. Excellent, excellent. Thank you everybody for dropping those in and for taking that time to share. But I wanted to talk about core values because when we talk about core values, that's something that drives our life, right? And then let me just go back here for a second because I want to give people more time to just drop in. Because understanding that core values drive our lives, right? And being optimistic was a core value that I started with right around after I graduated because I understood, hey, John, something's got to change. We got to shift some things. And it helped me keep a framework to always see the best in every situation, no matter how hard it got. And then there was a point in time to where I'm remaining optimistic. You know, I'm going about things that way. And then I was like, okay, well, what's another core value that I can bring into my life? What's another core value that I can begin to apply in my life? And then I started to think, well, what would it look like if I had to be responsible? Okay, KK, I got to the point to where I said, okay, I graduated college. I come home back to Dallas. I'm looking at my mom. She's looking at me. I look at my mom and she's looking at me and I'm like, Mom, I graduated. She said, son, great job. What are you going to do now? And then I said, oh, not exactly sure. Because at that point in time, the focus for me was, you know, just, hey, just trying to do enough to graduate, just trying to do enough so I can move on. But I didn't take account of what came next. And then one day I went out and then I was striving to now see how I can get a job, and understanding that being in the spot and being in the position to where being in the spot and being in the position to where now I'm focused on how can I get to the place and get to the point to where the responsibility for me ultimately will show itself. So at this point now, I go and now I'm working and getting a job. I apply at the local Foot Locker, okay? At the local Foot Locker is where I'm working. And during this time, while I'm at Foot Locker, I meet this guy named Steve. And as I'm talking with Steve in the back office, in the back room, we're going back and forth. And Steve looks at me, he says, Jonathan, right? He says, Jonathan, I enjoy working here. He was in the back room, he was stacking up the shoe boxes. And he said, John, for me personally, I don't need much. He said, for me, all I need is just a check. All I need is to be able to come in, get a pair of shoes here and there. But that's for me, that I'm good. That's all I need. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting, because for Steve, you know, he was responsible for himself and that's all he wanted to be responsible for. And I said, that's good for Steve, right? For some of us, we might know people like that. They just need the bare minimum, just enough to get by. That's all I need. That's all I want. I'm good. But for some of us, we know that we're responsible for other people, right? And I want you all just to think in this moment, right? Just take a quick second, just reflect and just think, who's one person that you're responsible for? And the reason I just want to put that out there, the reason I just want to ask that is because I just want us to begin to think that there's a point in the time in our lives to where identifying responsibility is one thing for ourselves, but then it comes to the place to where some of us take up responsibility for other people, right? Because this is the back room, okay? We see all the shoes. Steve had them stacked up to the sky, and I'm like, golly, there's a lot of shoes back here, man. I'm not sure if many of you all worked at the shoe store, but I'm in Foot Locker. I get lost back here every time I go. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is a lot of shoes. How am I supposed to find the shoe that I'm looking for? But then after we had that conversation, the thing that hit home for me, right, was I knew that I wanted to be responsible for more than just myself. And the reason I'm saying that is because I knew that I wanted a family, unlike Steve, right? I knew that I wanted a wife, unlike Steve, because Steve said, well, John, when you get a wife, then you have to improve yourself. Then you have to do more. Then you have to provide more. But I was up for that challenge. So the question that I have, just like I said before, I want you all to click that link in the chat, and I want you just to drop a name or two. But who's one person that you're responsible for? Who's somebody that's depending on you right now? Right? Because I mean, going through day to day, there's a lot of different challenges that we may face. You know, there's a lot of areas in our lives to where we sometimes have to come out of being just in the moment, but also focus on what's the long term, right? What's ahead? Okay, we have my kids, we have my children, we have wife, we have work colleagues, my athletes. This is good. This is good. Teammates. I love it. I love it. I love it. Teammates. I love it. We got parents, we got family. This is good. This is good. Excellent. This is excellent. This is excellent. And the reason I just wanted to bring this to the forefront, significant other, teammates. These are good. These are good. Because just like I was talking about before, my wife has depended on me many times, and I've dropped the ball. I'm not proud of it. There's been times where I've been expected to pay the bills on time. We've talked about this. But then I just forget. I didn't write it down, then I don't do it. Certain things don't happen. However, when we face the music, we face the truth, we own up to who we're responsible for. We own up to who we say that we're going to make sure that they're in the best position to be successful. Then that's when we get to truly see, and that's when we get to truly grow and elevate to the next level, right? So as we focus on who's depending on us, as we identify our core beliefs, then I wanna bring it here, and I wanna just talk for a second then about just a personal struggle, right? If you all don't mind, if this is a safe space, right? If this is a safe space, and you all are good with me just sharing this struggle, if you all just don't mind, I want to just turn back the clock, and I just hope that this helps somebody, right? I hope that this really helps somebody. But there was a point in time in my life where one day I was working at the grocery store, right? It was a normal day, right? This was a job. I loved this job, and I was a checker. So I'm over here, boop, 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 sliding the groceries. I'm checking everybody out. Hey, because I love this job. And then one day my manager, her name was Rolanda, she came up to me. She's like, Jonathan. And I said, yeah, Rolanda, what's going on? She said, do me a favor, just go ahead and just turn off your light. So I reached down and turned off my light, and she was like, Jonathan, after you get done, just go ahead and, go upstairs. They want to have a conversation with you. And I was like, Rolanda, what is this about? She said, Jonathan, don't worry about it. It's not nothing nothing too serious. You'll be fine. And this is a manager that we always typically joked and we laughed, but today I knew something was a little bit different, right? You know how it's some of those moments to where you connect with somebody and you just can feel that something's just a little bit off. So I turned off my light. I'm through checking out. So I start to slide around the end of the register. And then I see my friends over there in customer service. We usually laugh and we joke, but today nothing was really funny. So I walk by them and I'm like, something is kind of weird. here. I don't know what it is, but something's kind of off. So then I opened the door and then I began to hit the stairs. And in an instant, it seemed like everything was going in slow motion. And my heart was beating. Boom, 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 boom. And then just before I got to the top of the stairs, I was met with by a sharply dressed gentleman. He said, "Jonathan, please go ahead and take a seat." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Jonathan, my name is Bob. I'm with Loss Prevention. Do you know what we do?" And I said, "Well, Bob, I mean, I guess I'm going to guess that you help prevent loss." He said, "Very good, Jonathan. Very, very good." He said, "Jonathan, well, my next question for you is, do you know why you're here?" And I started looking around, and in that moment, it was like everything just froze. And I'm looking at Bob and I'm thinking, "Bob, you got the wrong guy. I don't know why you have me here. You can just let me go back downstairs and I can just continue to do my job." And I was like, "No, Bob, I have no idea." He said, "Well, Jonathan, I have one more question for you." And I said, "Yeah, Bob, what's that?" He said, "Jonathan, are you familiar with the term of sliding groceries?" And I said, "Well, Bob, no, I'm not really familiar with that." He said, "Well, Jonathan, sliding groceries is when somebody passes items over the register without the intent to scan them." And I said, "Okay, Bob, I'm not sure what we're doing." And then in that moment where Bob was asking me questions and it was almost like they were hitting me like we're in a boxing match, left hook, right hook, jab. And then in my mind, it was almost like I was watching a 3D reel just play in my head, playing back times when I had friends come to the store, playing back times when I had friends say, "John, you know, it's my mom's birthday. Can you slide me that birthday cake? John, you know, my mom's favorite is the crab legs. Can you go ahead and hook that up?" All along, while I knew what I was doing was wrong, but at the same time, I just allowed myself to have a lapse in my judgment. I allowed myself just to do what I knew better than what I was doing. And then as Bob kept going and asking me more questions, saying more things, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I had to say, "Bob, wait, I'm guilty." I said, "Bob, I slid those groceries." I said, "I'm wrong." And he looked at me, he said, "Jonathan, thank you for your honesty." He said, "You're good. I have no further questions. You can go home. You've been relieved for the day." And the reason I just wanted to just share this story is because looking back at that time in my life, that one decision cost me wiping out my entire bank account. This was money that I worked for week after week, month after month. And I just had to go over to the bank that was in the grocery store. I had to write a withdrawal slip and take out all the money that I had. And after the grocery store fired me, then I had to pay them that money back. And I don't know who this story might help. I don't know who's in the midst of making a tough decision or who's having an integrity battle right now. But I want to encourage you today that when you're in a point in a place to where you're struggling, and then you overcome that struggle, or if you're in the midst of the struggle, reach out to a professor, reach out to a coach, Reach out to whoever you need to reach out to so that you can make the best decision possible at that time. So that's why I'm here today telling you I will share my struggle. I'm encouraging you to do the same thing, to say, I will share my struggle so my teammate who's a freshman doesn't have to face that struggle. Who the individual that I know can do like Maurice just said, choose the harder right over the easier wrong without regard to self-interest. That's strong, Maurice. That's strong. That's strong. So understanding this, we want to share the struggle so that ultimately somebody else can get a head start over that point, over whatever it is that they're currently facing. And I wanted to just share that because that was a struggle in my life. Wanting to quit the basketball team, even in high school. So that's like the third time I wanted to quit the team. That was a struggle. Me failing math class, the same math class 3 times. That was a struggle. Until I got to the point to where one teacher, I told her, I'm in the midst of crying in math class. I'm like, Miss Winston, I can't do this. Miss Winston, I don't belong here in this math class. I don't belong here. She said, Jonathan, I know you didn't perform how you wanted to on this test. But she said, if you're willing to show up and show me that you want to make sure that you make it out of this class, I'm willing to assist you. And I want to encourage us to take this as well. I want us just to know that no one should be left behind. If you see a teammate that's struggling in practice, no one should be left behind. If you see a teammate that's struggling in class, no one should be left behind. As you can see to the far right, this is an image of my older brother. That's Freddie Jr. That's me to the right. That's Jonathan Jones. And growing up, I always would follow in my brother's footsteps, right? I was always chasing behind him. I was always wanting to find out, what's he doing? Where is he going? And I always was chasing his shadow. I always was hiding in his shadow. And for some of us on the call today, we might have fellow teammates that are trailing behind us because they want to learn more. They want to be like us. They like something that we do. Take them under your wing and bring them on the journey with you. Don't leave them behind in the dust. Because together we can accomplish so much more. But also, when you don't leave the person behind you, when you bring them along, then they can bring somebody along as well, right? Then we're now making a wall of individuals, paying it forward and bringing people on the journey to make sure that we all get to the finish line together. But understanding that no one's left behind, I believe that takes a community. I believe that takes a mindset. And I believe that that takes something called Four Corners. And Four Corners is something that I put together. And KK, I put this thing together because I believe that we all need our four corners, right? Hunter, we need our four corners because there's 4 legs on the table. Kevin, there's 4 corners on a house, right? 4 corners represents security. 4 corners ultimately represents stability. And I believe the 4 corners breaks down just like this. So this corner to the far right, left, this corner represents the individual who's the dreamer, right? This is the person who ultimately, they think big. They're always looking towards the future. They're the person who's the uplifting spirit, right? And this person for me is my father. Anytime that I may just not see something as big as it could be, I have to reach out to my dad. I'm like, Dad, what do you think about this? And he was like, oh yeah, son, you're on the right track. Do that, son. And my dad gives me gets me hyped up. You know, that's a good person to have. So my dad's the dreamer, right? And then the next person that we have would be over here. And this person would be the tactical and strategic person, right? Because I'm a dreamer just like my dad, and my wife, she's the tactical person. So I could tell her, I'm like, Gabby, look, I want to speak 50 times this year. I want to go all over the country. And then she says, okay, well, break that down. How many times would that be you speaking a month? Okay, break that down. What does it cost for you to travel from here to there? Break that down. What do we need to budget for this and for that? How many days of the year will you be gone? Right? The strategy and the tactical person. We need that person just as much as we need the dreamer to see big, to see far, and to see wide sometimes when we can't. And then down here, we have the individual who's the anchor. They're the support system. This is the friend that you call when you've had a rough day. This is the friend that you call when you're ready to just quit. You're ready to just throw it all out the window. You're like, I'm walking out of here. I'm done. I can't do this anymore, right? This person is the anchor, and that would be my best friend, and his name is Mahari. He would be the anchor, the one to say, John, let's take some time. Let's pray about this. Okay, John, let's take some time. Let's focus. Let's hone in. Okay, you had a bad day. What do we need to do so it doesn't happen tomorrow? Right? Any of us know somebody like that? Feel free to comment and drop that in the chat if you know somebody like that. And then we have the friend that I like to refer to, and this is the friend that I like to call the down for whatever friend. Okay, the down for whatever friend would be just down in this corner. And the down for whatever friend, in all honesty, was me in college. Okay, the down for whatever friend is the person where you're like, hey John, you wanna go study? It's like, okay, cool, let's go. Hey John, there's this party. You wanna hit the party? Let's go to the party. Let's go. The friend that's just down for whatever, to do just whatever and just ready to go and just ready to jump and move at just, the drop of a dime. So now I just want to check in with you all, and I just want to see, I'm going to drop the link one more time, and I want you just to click where you fall in this equation, right? Where you fall in this equation. Are you somebody who you're like, yes, I know who my four corners are? Are you somebody who's saying, no, I don't know who my four corners are? You're saying, I'm not sure. Or you're saying, I'm still identifying my four corners. Just feel free to click the link in the chat and just click which place you fall into. Yes, I know who my four corners are. No, I don't. Not sure, still identifying. Okay, still identifying. We have multiple still identifying. And let me just bring some clarity. Just to really hone this thing in. So when it comes to the four corners, the thing that we want to also just take away is this. You might be the foundational friend for somebody else, okay? And then somebody might be the dreamer for you. But at the same time, I just want us to walk away knowing and understanding this. If you don't know who your four corners are, that's why I wanted to break this down, just to get to a place to where we're now understanding, or we're in the level of awareness to say, who are these people I need to surround myself with? Because any of the four corners can be a teammate. They can be a coach. They can be a mentor. And we always just want to be aware of who these people are, because you can meet somebody in college like I did with Buzo, and I've brought in Buzo with me, right? I've met Mahari after college. I met my wife after college, and I've known my father my entire life. So understanding that, then I'm able to now incorporate this in college, but then we even can incorporate it later on in life. So if we have further questions about this, I can unpack it a little bit more just a little bit later at the end when we do questions and answers. So please feel free to raise your hand. But I just want you to know that relationships, I believe, is worth far more than any dollar amount that can be quantified, because relationships put you in positions and put you in rooms that sometimes you would have had no way of getting into the room. Money couldn't have bought you a position into the room, but by having the right relationships and being connected with the right people, you were able to come in to the room. Okay, so just wanted to hit on that and just share that with the right relationships help you get to the point to where you can level up your competition, right? And this is me, and this is my boy Buzo, right? Me and Buzo have been side by side in many facets of life. I saw him get his first house. He was one of the groomsmen in my wedding. You level up your competition by having your core belief, building on your core belief, by honing in and taking a level of responsibility for your life and the people you bring in, right? Your four corners. But leveling up your competition also looks like this. I've been a hard worker all my life. From working really hard to playing basketball in high school, then college, and then I even played a little bit of semi-pro. I was never the naturally skilled and gifted athlete. I was always the guy who was closer to the end of the bench versus the front. The reason I'm sharing that is those traits, the discipline, the hard work, the showing up early, the staying late, the doing extra running, to going in to studying in the tutoring center till it closed at night, those traits have come over into this area of entrepreneurship for me. And then now, working on a work week, I work Monday through Friday. My alarm goes off at 4:05 in the morning, and I'll work till 5 p.m.-ish, right? But I had the opportunity to go with my wife down to Houston just 2 weeks ago. We went down to Houston for a good couple friend of ours. They were celebrating their son's second birthday. And we hop in the car, we drive down, and I get up early the next morning. I'm sneaking on my laptop because everybody's asleep in the house. The parents just put together the birthday party. They're exhausted, right? If any of you all have ever been around children, they have energy that is endless, okay? Oh my goodness. Melissa, they have energy that's ridiculous. Kevin, the energy is unreal, okay? I'm like, what in the world are you on right now, child? You need to sit down. It's unreal. So I wake up early in the morning, and then I go to brush my teeth because I didn't want to have the morning breath and, be around people and stuff. I didn't want that, okay? I was around some people I didn't know. I didn't want that. And then when I come out the bathroom, I look to my left, and what do I see? I see this little guy staring at me. And if you see him like I see it, look at the look on his face right now, okay? In one word, what word would you describe the look on his face right now? Somebody, just give me one word in the chat box. How would you describe the look on his face right now? It's like, my man is like locked in, okay? He's just locked in and he's ready to go. So as I'm, playtime, exactly, Robert. So as I'm looking at him, he's just staring at me, and then he reaches out his arms. And I'm like, no, don't reach out your arms. No, no, no. Maurice, where have you been? I love that. So as I'm looking at him, the thought I have in my head is, no, we're 2 weeks out, Robert. I'm like, I'm putting together my presentation for the NAIA. I'm trying to get this thing together. I want to get it right. I want to make sure that it hits. I want to make sure it's impactful. I'm like, I want to tighten up on my presentation. But looking at his face, I said, you know what? I said, let me move this laptop to the side. I can do a little bit of business later. While everybody else is asleep, while everybody else is still resting, let me just take some time and let me just sit here with my man. Like, let me just take some time and let me just hang out with Mr. Bubs. Okay. As you can see, got time. So what happened? 2 minutes later, I'm sitting down beside him and we're reading Dr. Seuss. Oh, can you say dinosaur? It was a dinosaur themed birthday party. Okay. So we're reading the book with dinosaurs. And then as we started reading the book, then I started thinking to myself, we have time for the things that we decide to have time for. We make time for the things that we decide to make time for. And as I'm on this call with you all today, I just want us to reflect for a moment. What is it that we need to stop making time for? What is it we need to stop doing? Okay, let me just say it like that. What's something that we need to stop doing and then replace it with a habit we need to start doing? I'll go first, okay? I need to stop eating as much sweets as I do. I'm guilty, okay? I'm guilty. I need to stop. I just need to stop. I need to stop. I say I want to be vegan, but I just keep eating sweets. There's some behaviors that we're doing that we need to stop, and then we need to start doing it or replacing it with something else. Okay. So now I'm going to share this other slide briefly, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A with you, Robert, and then I'm going to close out with the recap after we do the Q&A. But I wanted to share this slide because I love the opportunity to partner with colleges, universities, and staffs all across the country. And the thing that I love most is really making sure that our student athletes are positioned to go from college to career successfully. And with that being understood, I just wanted to share this slide with you. I would further love to work with your staff, to work with your team, to work with your university. And these are just some of the programs that I've shared. I've shared our flagship Podcasting for Players program, where I partner with West Virginia University and just sharing with their student athletes how podcasting gives you tools, gives you skills, and ultimately helps you take those transferable hiring attributes, and you can learn those through having your podcast. So I've done that, and I was working with some players from the football program to help them begin to put together their podcast. Also, we have the More Than an Athlete program, to where I just show student athletes how we can really hone in and go deeper and unpack the layers of identity that include being an athlete, but are so much deeper than just an athlete. And then the last program that we do is Ready versus Prepared. I talk about a lot of times us as individuals, some staff, and maybe even student athletes, we say that we're ready to graduate, we're ready to leave, and ready to transfer on to the next location. But are we prepared for what that next position or location will require of us? Do we have a resume? Do we have a LinkedIn profile? Do we have the tactical things in place? But these are some of the programs that I've shared, and I just wanted to just let you all in on that, and also let you know that I would love to partner with your staff, with your university, and with your student athletes. And my information is down there at the bottom. Email address is info@jonathanjonespeaks.com. And my telephone number is 214-460-9178. I would love to connect with you, and love to hear how I can serve and support your team and or your program. But Robert, I'm gonna now kick it to you, but I just want to pull up this last slide. I would just love if either you drop something in the chat, you all, or you just, you can come off mute. And well, okay, let me rephrase that. I would say that you just drop it in the chat, and then Robert, we can do questions. If people have questions, I would just say, just click the raise your hand feature, and then we can answer the questions like that. But I would just love you dropped in the chat one thing that you took away from our conversation today that you're going to apply. Are we talking about identifying our core belief? Are we talking about identifying who are we responsible for, right? Are we talking about getting our four corners into place? But at this time, I would just love if we do question and answer. So if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand at this time, and we can get into that. Okay, 4 corners. Know who my 4 corners are. I love it. I love it, KK. Taking the time, Brenda. Yes, yes. Taking the time. Taking the time. We allow ourselves to be so busy sometimes. I have to slow down too. I have to slow down as well. I really have to slow down as well. Just making sure that, you know, that we take the time, we really lock in and focus on the things that matter in the moment, right? Focus on the things that matter in the moment and invest into those that we truly desire to really serve and support. Identifying 4 corners. Excellent, excellent. Making time for what I value most and don't waste time. Yes, Kevin. Yes, yes, yes. It's so easy to get caught up on social media or scrolling or watching the next movie on Netflix, the next episode. No Netflix. I'm not going to go to the next episode. I'm just going to watch 1 episode and I'm going to just hang out from there. Oh man, I love that. I love that. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Madison. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, KK. Thank you, Meg. Yes, yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you everyone for engaging, for responding, for showing up, you know, just being present here in the conversation. And I'm just going to hit this recap, and then Robert, I'm going to kick it back to you in just one moment. But just so that we have the recap, I want us to think, if we already know what our core values are, what's one core value that we now can focus on to really make sure that we're operating in what we say that we believe, right? So if I say family is a valuable core value for me, then that means you should see me spending time with my wife somewhere, okay? Point blank, period. So what's my key core value? For those of us who already have identified our core values, let's lock in on one and make sure that we attack it as such. Or we're in the spot to where we're saying, who am I responsible for, right? Who is somebody that I see they're struggling, I see that they're facing some challenges, and I know that I can help them based on something that I know. Who's somebody that I can serve and support, right? Let's identify that person, and then let's see how we can help them. Get to the point to where we say, I'll share my struggle because I know that will help bring somebody forward, right? Sharing the struggle, sharing our story to make sure that it gives somebody else success. Or is it time to level up our competition, right? Is it time to level up our competition? And just like Kevin said earlier, he said, Jonathan, leveling up my competition takes time. It looks like me making time for what I value most. Leveling up our competition can say, I'm going hard already on the field, in the pool, on the court, on the green, but now let me level up in the other aspects, right? So let me take time to start doing a little bit of research around what life can look like after these 4 years. Let me take time to get my 4 corners in place, right? Excellent, excellent. But that's the recap. Getting your key core value, identifying who you're responsible for, and then sharing your struggle. I'm going to drop this final link in the chat. If you all could just click this link and then just give me a rate on the presentation, it would allow me to level up my competition as well. And then Robert, I'm going to kick it back to you. Robert. But everybody, thank you so much for coming out, and definitely looking forward to having conversations with you all in the future to see how I can further serve and support you. But if you click that link in the chat and then just vote your response, I would love to hear your feedback on the presentation and see how I can further serve and support. Robert, back to you in the studio.
Jonathan, thank you so much. This is outstanding. And student athletes, please know that Jonathan is available to reach out to at any time. When we send out this recap, probably Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have his contact info, and it's not binding or anything like that. But if there's anyone who takes a genuine personal concern in the struggles and successes of student athletes, it's Jonathan Jones. I tell you what, the Four Corners exercise changed my approach to every situation I come into. The student athletes at the campus I was at, they absolutely loved it. It changed the way they interacted with their coaches, with their teammates. It helped them focus and spend energy the way that they needed to. It helped them identify for themselves the things where they needed to grow and where they needed to help others grow. So it was a personal exercise and it was a team exercise. So again, if there's anything that you need further clarification on, Jonathan Jones is the person to turn to. Keep an eye out for that email coming to you. Here's another thing. We're all abuzz with NIL, name, image, likeness. We're all confused about how that's going to be applied. We're all confused about what it means for us. How can we benefit from it? How can we help each other with it? Name, image, likeness. Jonathan Jones is one of the hottest podcasters that we have, and he knows about personal branding. And it's not just commercial. It's identifying yourself. It's personal exploration. It's getting your name out there. It's becoming who you are. And if there's one person that knows how to help a 19 to 24-year-old harness that energy and get clarification on who they are and how to get that out in the world, it's Jonathan Jones. So I really want you all to make use of this great resource that we have with us tonight. And it might not be tomorrow, it might not be this week, but keep that information handy. And when the time comes, share it with your campus character liaison. The students that I know that have interacted personally have they've benefited tenfold. So please, we want to put people in front of you that are going to help you along your journey. And Jonathan is one of them. He certainly helped me more than he knows in both professionally, but also more importantly, personally. It really helped me find a center. So again, if there's any questions, we're going to turn off the recording and we're going to stick around for a little while and be ready to take on any questions or thoughts. But I am going to right now, Jonathan, say thank you. I'm going to stop recording and then we're going to hang out for a while. But student athletes, Dr. Parks, I see you down there. If there's any chance to team with other local universities and bring Jonathan in, it's an experience that will really, really benefit a lot of people, staff and students alike. So Jonathan, I'm going to hit pause